It's so sad. It's so sad that I finished this show. Like if you don't understand the pain that I'm going through, like all I can tell you is to watch it yourself, man. This real pain, bro. Like so much pain, so much pain that I just wanna do this, bro. Like I'm close, bro. I'm so close. I'm so close. You don't understand. This isn't even the whole set, bro. Like I'm so close, bro. I'm so close. You don't know, bro. You just don't know unless you know, bro. Oh my. I don't even want to speak on this shit right now, bro. It's gonna make me sad having to speak on some Berserk. Cause that was a real ride right there. I get why all the Berserk fans was so mad. I get it. Who wanna watch that CGI shit? Who wanna watch that? After we have Berserk 1997, bro. And before we start anything today, bro.
Within the vast amount of media.
And commemoration of me finishing Bleach. I said Bleach, Berserk. We're gonna watch Berserk 1997 is special, which I completely agree. Talk to me, Grim. What you gotta say about some Berserk?
Media being released today, there are very few stories that are considered to be universally loved. Granted, it's impossible for any piece of media to be literally universally loved, as everyone has a different opinion, but what I mean
Facts.
to say is that it's difficult to gain an overwhelming positive majority consensus when it comes to media. It's something that's incredibly subjective, so in order to accomplish such a feat, it takes something truly unique and pretty special. Now, of course, popularity doesn't mean quality, as there are some pieces of media that are incredibly popular, yet are pretty lackluster in certain aspects, like the quality of the story, dialogue, or characters. However, when you see stories that are immense in quality and have achieved that majority consensus, it truly marks a work that's exceptional. This can be seen through most mediums of art and can of course be seen in that of manga. When looking at the two most popular scoring sites for manga, that being My Anime List and AniList, the top rated manga for each of them is the same. Now, not everyone that reads manga uses or participates in these websites, and they aren't exactly 100% truthful as idiotic things like review bombs happen, but the fact that hundreds of thousands of people have scored this particular manga on such a high scale is a testament to just how well appreciated it is. A manga that's legendary in its status and what I and many others consider to be the greatest manga of all time. I'm of course talking about none other than Berserk. Now, like I mentioned before, every piece of media is subjective, but there's a reason as to why so many people consider Berserk to be the greatest manga ever written. While it may not be your favorite, hell, it's not even my personal favorite, but regardless, you can't deny the sheer brilliance of Berserk and how influential it is as a story. Most fantasy action manga released since Berserk's inception have all been inspired and influenced by Miura's masterpiece, and that's not even mentioning the countless other pieces of media like video games or films that have taken inspiration from Berserk. It's just that influential of a story, and one that rightfully earned the legendary status that it's acquired over the years. And like a lot of other manga that have been praised to such an extent, it's been translated over to anime. 4 times actually, and unfortunately...
One time, bro. One time. We don't talk about those other 3. Come on now.
The majority of them aren't great. The worst being Berserk 2016, which translated Miura's one-of-a-kind artwork into a 3D abomination with terrible sound design and an awful pacing of the story. The issue of bad pacing also falls upon the 2012 films and by extension the recent Memorial Edition, which ultimately did add more to the films and is definitely an upgrade, but still isn't all that great in terms of a good adaptation. However, among Berserk's adaptations there is a diamond in the rough, an adaptation that easily outshines the rest and truly is special, which, if you read the title, you know very well that I'm talking about Studio OLM's 1997 Berserk. But before I go into why I believe Berserk 1997 to be special, I need to preface that the 97 show is not by any means a perfect adaptation. While it may be the best adaptation of the Golden Age and a portion of the Black Swordsman arc, considering this has been the only attempt at doing that, it does have a couple of faults. The main issues being some of the censorship and its removal of a handful of scenes, subplots, and the characters of Donovan, Wild, the Count, Theresia, Puck, and the Skull Knight, which, from a story standpoint, some of the moments missing end characters like the Skull Knight are crucial and it sucks that they were left out. Puck, for example, according to one of the producers, Toshio Nakatani, was cut from the anime with Miura's permission permission so that the passion of both Guts and Griffith would be the focus and common thread throughout the series, which to me doesn't make all that much sense, considering that he would have only appeared in the first episode. His inclusion there wouldn't have taken away from any of the character development of Guts and Griffith, though considering that the show only had a total of 25 episodes, I guess there was bound to be some stuff missing. And some people might attribute the things missing to the budget, but in actuality I'm pretty sure it had to do with the episode count. Another common complaint in regard to the budget is that some of the animation isn't great due to there being a small budget.
What?
However, there seems
I thought this shit looked fantastic for 1997, bro. Personally, bro, I thought that shit looked. You come from 2023, you go back to 1997, you're like, bro, this shit's about to be ass. But I swear that shit looks perfectly fine when I was watching it. It's been like 3 days since I started Berserk, bro.
Seems to be a misconception about just how small it was. Well, slight misconception. See, for some reason, somewhere along the line, it became a mainstay of the show's lore that the 97 adaptation had an extremely small budget. However, in reality, the budget wasn't as small as you may think. During an interview on the 2009 DVD with Toshio Nakatani, he stated,
やっぱりちゃんとそういう意味で言うとアルティメットというかそのガチンコで、今の日本語で言うとガチンコっていう言葉なんですけれども、とにかく正面から、全身全霊をかけて、そういう意味で言うとゴールデンタイムよりも制作費をかけましたので、ゴールデンタイムの1.5 倍から2倍ぐらいはかけているので、それぐらいの意気込みで作品をすることで、逆に深夜という時間なんだけれども、インパクトが与えられればそれがなんかムーブメントになっていろんな形で制作費は回収できるのかなというところで。
So Berserk 97, despite being aired at night, which would normally mean less production value as there would be less viewers, spent 1.5 to 2 times more than a show airing in a primetime slot. So to say that the budget of Berserk was very small would just not be true. However, there is a slight catch. See, in comparison to the budget that some anime get nowadays, the production for the 97 series is by all means small. Shows like JJK reportedly spend $150K on a single episode, and there's just no way that the 97 team had that kind of backing, but again, for the time that it was created, the budget wasn't all that small.
It's a different time.
One could argue that the normal budget for television programs in Japan in 1997 wasn't all that much, so doubling that would still mean the budget was small. Which that could be 100% true, though considering the way that Nakatani says that's how much effort was put into it in regard to the monetary backing, it doesn't seem that way. Again, it might have been small, especially when looking at today's standards, but not as small as it's put out to be. So, when people say that some of the animation is rough due to the
what are you expecting? Like, nobody from 1997 was watching Berserk and thought this animation was bad. That has to be like some niggas that watched that shit in like the last 5-6 years. Like, that's like going back, I'm not gonna start.
Budget, that's simply not true. Rather, the animation is a product of its time, and there's a couple mistakes due to it being a product of a relatively new studio. But now that I've covered the budget, let's talk about this adaptation and what makes it so great.
Yeah, talk to me.
Studio OLM, despite being a relatively new studio, was given the task of adapting Berserk, which at the time wasn't the well-known beloved manga that it is currently, but started to gain popularity during the release of the Golden Age. After the arc wrapped up in December of 1996, the production for the anime began in early 97. However, the first episode was set to come out in October, which only gave the team about 10 months to produce a good chunk of the episodes. And despite the approaching deadline, they created something incredible. I mean, what they achieved in 10 months is shocking. And it goes to show just how much the entire team cared about the project. A team that had an immense appreciation and great understanding of the source material, and it shows. Though, I will say that Miura's involvement might have partially aided that insight. And as for his role in the project, this is what Miura said during an interview on that same 2009 DVD. Now, I'm just going to read what he said aloud, but if you want to watch the full interview, there's a link below that'll take you right there. Berserk is my very first comic and anime, so I was very excited and I wanted to make something good. I could have just let the studio staff do the work, but I gave some advice on the outlines of the character designs. But my main concern was the scripts. They'd send me the scripts and I'd revise them and make changes. I checked all the scripts and made a lot of changes and requests. Now, if you're a fan of
That's
Berserk and by
hands-on.
extension Miura, you're most likely aware of his obsession with perfecting his craft. I mean, the man was so meticulous and detailed with his artwork that every minute detail down to the dots had to be precise. So, to hear that Miura wanted to be a part of the production and contributed as much as he possibly could to ensure that the script stayed true to his story might not be surprising, but is incredibly reassuring to know as a fan. It's clear that Miura wanted to make this adaptation the best it could be, and his detailed involvement is a testament to just how much he cared about his story being told the right way. Plus, the 97 show is the only adaptation that Miura said he played a part in, so to know that it has his personal touch just adds so much value to the show and makes it all the more special. Though, even outside of Miura's involvement in some of the outlines and the script, that level of understanding among the rest of the incredibly talented staff is very much present in literally every aspect of the final product. And I mean every aspect. For starters, the artwork and animation present in Berserk 97 is an incredible take at bringing Miura's one-of-a-kind artwork to life. While I think that some of the panels present in Berserk are damn near impossible to transition into anime, what the team produced is nothing short of the word impressive. 97 is jam-packed with some incredible background artwork contributed by the late Kobayashi Shichiro that transports you straight to the holy sea territories of Midland and Tudor and expertly translates the infinite-spanning scenery of Miura's world. Besides providing the backgrounds, Kobayashi also served as the art director, working together with artists like Yoshihiko Umakoshi to implement additions and recreate some of the manga's most impactful panels in form of paintings that they incorporated in between animation. This isn't exactly a common technique, however, by use of an art style that very much respected the source material and placing them in the right spots, it works extremely well. Personally, this use of paintings cut between the animation is one of my favorite aspects that they included, as it really helps the anime capture the feeling of the manga.
Bro, like, look how those paintings look, bro. Like, and this is why I didn't think it was bad. Like, you were getting, like, all the impactful scenes in the anime, bro, they would end it off with one of these, and you'd be like, damn. And you're already on to the next episode, bro. Like,
Guts' ferocity from his battle with the Band of the Hawk or the intensity of Guts' strikes, these paintings allow for the viewer to hyper-focus on that brief moment, which helps portray the emotion of the characters in the scene immensely. My favorite instance of this technique is actually in one of my all-time favorite scenes in Berserk, which comes from the chapter Precious Thing. In this chapter, we see Griffith give his infamous speech, which Guts overhears, causing him to suddenly realize the distance between the two and setting ablaze Guts' desire for a dream of his own. That moment of realization is perfectly visualized by Miura, where we see Guts looking up through a void of dark emptiness to Griffith enveloped in light, serving as both a physical and metaphorical visualization of the distance between them. So when adapting this moment, the 97 team pretty much replicated the panel one-to-one in the form of a painting, but due to the final product being on the screen rather than on paper, they took a different approach to the delivery. Where in the manga, it's obviously a still picture, the anime starts off zoomed in on Griffith, to which it then slowly zooms out, revealing the rest of the painting with Guts at the bottom of the stairs frozen in solitude. By playing off Guts' emotion that the manga invoked in this moment, they were able to add their own flair to it, which really emphasizes that metaphorical distance between the pair and the bleak stillness of that realization. Again, it's one of my favorite things that the staff implemented, and I feel is a prime example of how much thought was put into the scenes of great narrative importance. As I mentioned earlier, the team said they wanted to prioritize the characters, which is the driving force of the Golden Age, so when it comes to those crucial scenes of development, there feels like an extra layer of care put into the adaptation. In particular, besides that moment from chapter 12, their treatment of Bonfire of Dreams is absolutely perfect. I mean, from the excellent charming animation to the almost one-to-one script and incredible performances by both the sub and dub voice actors, it is a perfect attentive visualization of one of the most significant scenes in the Golden Age. Of course, the authenticity of the dialogue is probably due to Miura's involvement with the script, but one of the best parts about OLM's treatment of this scene is the soundtrack. Now, if you want to talk about what makes Berserk 97 special, the music is hands down one of the most important factors in that statement.
Was phenomenal.
When I said that every aspect of this adaptation understood the source material, I meant it. And Susumu Hirasawa's soundtrack is quite literally the perfect example of that. Berserk 97's soundtrack is to this day the pinnacle of Berserk music, and the tracks that Hirasawa composed for it have become a mainstay in the fandom as they stay true to the spirit of Miura's masterpiece so incredibly well. This can be seen in every single one of the tracks like Behelit, a hauntingly eerie ominous piece that perfectly embodies the darker side of the story, or Forces, an energy-inducing banger that fits the medieval setting of Berserk and is quite possibly one of the best going into battle songs ever. And of course, most notably, we have Guts. Now, Guts itself is pretty special, and not because of its popularity, even becoming a meme at one point, but rather because of the fact that it's transcended this adaptation and become permanently tied with Guts' character, so much so that it's earned the name Guts' theme throughout the fandom. It's a song without any words, yet portrays an incredible comprehension of Guts. Hirasawa's composition beautifully depicts Guts' arc throughout the Golden Age and the emotions tied with that journey, which I can best describe as the term yearning. A sense of yearning that originates from loneliness and sadness, yet one that also comes from desire and utter optimism. This duality of yearning and the complexity of Guts' character is somehow reflected perfectly in the form of a song without losing any of the emotion and translation, which to me is incredible and goes to show Hirasawa's genius as a composer.
Boy, he was
The
cooking
track
it
is
up
just
in the
amazing,
kitchen, bro.
as is the entirety of the soundtrack, and what makes it all the more brilliant is the team's placement of these tracks in accordance with the scenes they're in. Every track feels so meticulously positioned with every scene, which really helps drive the atmosphere and the emotions
Let
of the
me
narrative.
just tell you, boy, when that boy Gus was walking off after he just did that shit to Griffith, and he had Casca, Guts! And then they hit that theme, oh my God, boy. Like, it can't get better than that, bruh.
Which shows a level of coherent understanding between Hirasawa and the staff. It's an outstanding level of teamwork that is yet to be replicated in any of Berserk's further adaptations, but would you be surprised to know that this dynamic between Hirasawa and Berserk was kinda meant to be? See, in that same interview from earlier with the show's producer, he stated that Miura actually listened to Hirasawa while he worked on Berserk.
Oh, that's
so,
crazy.
in a sense, Hirasawa actually helped create Berserk. So when production started and it came time to make a decision on the music, Miura suggested that they try and get Hirasawa, which, as you might have guessed, he accepted, and the rest is history.
That's like poetry, so that they rhymed.
It really feels like a full circle kind of connection that adds to the lore of the anime and makes it feel all the more unique. Hirasawa's soundtrack took the adaptation to another level and is without a doubt one of the reasons as to why this show is so special. And lastly, the final reason I want to touch on as to why Berserk 97 is special is in regard to the ending. The ending of this particular adaptation is a textbook example of what you'd call a cliffhanger. But not
boy,
just a cliffhanger.
Don't get me started, boy. Don't get me started. I already knew I was going to get hold because this shit came out in 1997. But when I tell you I was in the abyss after that episode 25 ended, bruh. I was in the abyss. Fucking cliffhanger of fucking hell.
No, this cliffhanger pushes the absolute extreme of the definition. I mean, it literally just ends during that part of the eclipse. You know, that part. The part that I don't think anyone that's read Berserk has mentally gotten over, and one of the main reasons as to why Griffith or Femto is probably one of the most hated antagonists. And
bro, when I tell you, bro, this it's literally about to be 3 weeks or less that I got this manga in my room and I'm reading it, cause that cliffhanger is illegal, bro. How did he get away with that in 1997, bro? How did he get away with that and the Berserk wasn't on 1999? How did he get away with that?
All the fiction. It's a moment that scars your brain, and to just end the anime in the
I'm
middle
scarred.
of that scene with
I'm
screaming out
scarred.
in agony as it fades to white is the most what the fuck ending there is. So why is the ending of Berserk 97 something I consider to be a factor in what makes it special? Well, to put it simply, it is the best example of an anime getting you to read the manga. There is no way that after watching this horrific scene end suddenly without any explanation as to what's gonna happen.
He got me!
Casca that you're not immediately picking
He
up
got
the manga
me!
to see how the rest of the story goes. However, the decision to end the anime during the eclipse has never been officially said to be a marketing ploy. But even if it wasn't intentional, it definitely served as one, as the anime boosted the manga sales and served as a lot of people's introduction to the series. The Golden Age, as incredible as it may be, is just a portion of Berserk. There's so much story left to explore, and the anime's ability to throw the viewer straight into the manga is simply unlike any other I've seen, and definitely plays a part in what makes it so great. Berserk 1997 is special is a statement that's definitely personal, as I'm sure there's people out there that don't enjoy this adaptation, and there's simply no legitimate way to factually prove an opinion, as it's just an opinion. However, as I've stated throughout this video, there's reasons as to why I hold this anime in such high esteem. It is without question the truest adaptation of the Golden Age so far, and one that Miura himself played a part in. An adaptation that introduced a lot of people to one of the greatest manga ever created, and one of the reasons as to why it's so popular today. An adaptation that was crafted by an incredibly talented team of individuals who had an immense understanding and appreciation for the manga and wanted to make something Miura would be proud of.
I want to say before this video ends, bro, you know you crafted up something great. When people have read your manga, said it's phenomenal, and then the anime, one of the adaptations, because the other three are fucking ass, one of your adaptations, you got niggas talking about it's special. You know you cooked something up, bro. And then on the other hand, bro, you got people like me who heard about Berserk. They ain't read it. They ain't seen it. They go in, they watch it, and now they're addicted. They're buying the box set. Like, this shit's crazy, bro. Rest in peace to the author, by the way. Rest in peace to that man.
Berserk 1997 is without a doubt one of a kind. It's an adaptation that truly is special. But yeah, that's it for this one. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a good one. Peace.
W video. I thought he was gonna talk about like the story of Berserk more, but he was talking about the adaptation. But still, W fucking video, bro. W video. All right.
This video is sponsored by